The story of the 1968 Jefferson Nickel begins during a period of transformation for the United States Mint and for American coinage as a whole, and the year 1968 stands out as a moment of renewal, adaptation, and change. To understand the full history of the 1968 Jefferson Nickel, it is important to look back at the origins of the series, which began in 1938, when the nickel adopted the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and the image of his home Monticello on the reverse. By the time 1968 arrived, the Jefferson Nickel had already been circulating for 3 decades, and Americans recognized it as one of the most stable and reliable coins in the economy. However, behind the scenes, many changes were taking place at the Mint, and these changes deeply influenced the 1968 issue. During the mid-1960s, the minting world was shaken by a national coin shortage driven by rapid population growth, massive increases in vending machine use, and the booming economy. As a result, the Mint had temporarily removed mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967 to discourage hoarding by collectors. This policy drastically altered the design and production practices of the Mint. By 1968, the United States Mint decided it was time to restore mint marks and return to normal operations, which marked a major shift and made the 1968 Jefferson Nickel a significant entry in the series. The year 1968 also marked the reopening of the San Francisco Mint as a facility, dedicated to producing proof coins, reopening after many decades of closure. This meant that proof Jefferson nickels for 1968 would now carry the S Mint mark and would be struck under more controlled and refined conditions compared to earlier years. Turning to the production details, the Mint struck 3 main types of Jefferson nickels in 1968. The Philadelphia Mint struck circulation coins without a mint mark, continuing its role as the primary provider of everyday currency. The Denver Mint produced a large number of coins marked with the D Mint mark, serving the western and central regions of the country with dependable nickel supply. Meanwhile, the newly reactivated San Francisco Mint prepared proof coins that were struck with mirrored surfaces, frosted devices, and a level of craftsmanship meant to appeal to collectors. These proof coins carried the S Mint mark, which became an important identifier for collectors then and now. All 3 versions of the 1968 nickel were made from the standard copper-nickel alloy of the modern era, consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a metal blend chosen for strength, durability, and long-term stability in circulation. Design continuity was another key point of the 1968 Jefferson Nickel. The obverse still featured the classic left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag, whose artwork had been selected in a national competition 30 years earlier. Schlag's original design saw adjustments over the decades, but its fundamental appearance remained familiar to Americans. Jefferson's profile sits confidently with the inscriptions "Liberty, the year 1968," and the motto "In God We Trust." The reverse features Monticello rendered with architectural precision and framed by the inscriptions "Monticello 5 cents, United States of America," and the motto "E pluribus unum." Though unchanged in appearance, this reverse would later gain increased scrutiny from collectors as strike sharpness and die conditions varied. Collecting the 1968 Jefferson Nickel introduces a fascinating perspective on minting quality during this transitional era. Coins from Philadelphia and Denver were made in large numbers, yet many examples show softer strikes around Monticello, especially on the steps. Fully struck steps, often called full steps by collectors, are highly prized because they indicate a strong, precise strike and well-prepared dies. Finding 1968 nickels with full steps, particularly from Philadelphia, can be very challenging, making such pieces highly desirable in the numismatic market. Denver issues tend to show better strikes, but still not consistently enough for easy full-step certification. Proof 1968. S nickels generally display strong detail, but even in proofs, the clarity of Monticello steps can vary, adding another layer of interest for collectors. Looking deeper into the historical background, 1968 was a time of national change, political tension, and economic shifts. In such a complex era, coins like the Jefferson nickel were quiet witnesses to everyday American life, passing through hands in grocery stores, gas stations, and workplaces. The restored mint marks of 1968 symbolized a return to stability after years of uncertainty in the coin supply. At the same time, the establishment of the San Francisco Mint as a proof facility marked an important modernization step for the mint and set the stage for decades of proof coin production that continues today. The legacy of the 1968 Jefferson nickel rests not only on its production numbers and design, but also on its role in the evolution of the series. It marked the return of traditional minting practices, the refinement of proof production, and the continuation of one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. For collectors, the 1968 nickel offers many layers to explore, from varieties to strike quality to historical context. For historians, it reflects the broader economic and political landscape of the late 60s. And for viewers of your 2-hour documentary, the 1968 Jefferson nickel represents far more than a simple 5-cent piece. It becomes a window into a time of change, a symbol of national stability, and a key chapter in the continuing story of American coinage. As the story of the 1968 Jefferson nickel continues, it becomes important to understand how this single year fits into the broader economic and political climate of the United States during the late 1960s. The country was facing many dramatic shifts, advancements in technology, challenges in industry, social changes, and global tensions that shaped daily American life. Coins produced during this era, including the Jefferson nickel, reflected the government's effort to maintain consistency in the economy even as the nation navigated a time of turbulence. The nickel, which had been a stable part of commerce since the 1930s, remained essential for vending machines, public transportation, parking meters, and daily transactions. Its reliability made it a crucial piece of everyday life, and the 1968 issue was produced with the intention of reinforcing that stability. The return of mint marks in 1968 carried symbolic meaning for collectors and for the mint itself. During the coin shortage of the mid-60s, the temporary removal of mint marks had frustrated collectors who relied on mint marks to distinguish varieties and track production patterns. The restoration of mint marks allowed the hobby to regain momentum. Clubs, shows, and publications grew in popularity as collectors searched for the newly marked coins. The appearance of the D mint mark on Denver issues and the S mint mark on Varieties San Francisco proof coins reconnected collectors to traditions that had been interrupted. It also helped bring public confidence back to the mint, which had been criticized for its handling of the shortage. This historical moment helped shape the modern coin collecting community, and the 1968 nickel became one of the first coins to benefit from renewed enthusiasm.